Hi guys, this is my presentation on Makerspace. So my name is Eunice Ocampo Martini. We had a couple questions this week about Makerspace. The first one that we had was how can you use your students' interests, motivations, and social connections to develop knowledge about the subject? I always find it helpful to get to know your students so that you're able to connect to their prior experiences, their knowledge, and you're able to connect that content. I really enjoy teaching content that by following up by creating a project that allows students to practice while providing them the opportunity to add some of their interests into the project. I also incorporate universal design for learning to ensure that it eliminates most of the barriers for the students as possible. It's really important that you get to know your students. So you have to know their strengths and their weaknesses. And so if they have an area where they're not as good at, like for example, if a kid's not really good with technology and you make a project that it's only based on technology, you put them at a deficit. So you want to make sure that they have options and they're able to really demonstrate their knowledge and they're not being stopped by a barrier that is made by the way you created your project. How can you use makerspace concepts in your classroom to help teach content? So makerspace concept is a great way to teach content because it's a good amount of students are kinesthetic learners. So being able to have hands-on experiences will only enrich their learning. I still believe direct instruction is needed to give students direction, but projects such as Makerspace helps connect content in a deeper level. So for example, in my science class, I had a lot of hands-on projects or experiments, and the kids really got to understand the content and it really connected it with them. Um, for math, it gets a little more difficult because you have to really get creative about creating projects that connect content to the students and they engages their learning. What skills do you want your learners to develop and why? So I want students to develop executive functioning skills such as planning, organization, time management, metacognition, response initiation, sustained attention, task initiation, and goal-directed persistence. So I think all these skills are very important. Metacognition, I think it's really important for the students to kind of be able to think about their thinking. Um, Also, they need to think before they act. So I think that's another great skill for the students to have. I also believe that it's important for students to be able to develop real-world connections to content and problem-solving skills. Academic skills such as research and writing skills should always be a focus. So that's obviously something that you are always going to be focused on. But I think projects and makerspace, I would like project-based learning is a great way for them to really kind of develop and progress their executive functioning skills. It gives them a way to kind of own their own learning. What will you do for the kids who are amazing at making? So for students who are amazing at creating and making, I hope that giving them a space to use their imagination and explore will allow them to develop a lifelong love of learning and develop ownership of their learning. Kids are naturally curious and have a passion for learning. Encouraging and supporting them will allow them to grow and continue to explore. What will you do for kids who think they're terrible? So I believe failure is part of learning. It's part of the learning process. If your student does not create what they wanted to create on their first attempt, I will continue to encourage the students and guide them to learn from their mistakes. I want to demystify excellence. What I mean with that is a lot of students have this understanding that you are born being amazing at things. And that's really not the case. You actually develop and improve your skills by practicing failing at things. Michael Jordan was not born being amazing at basketball. There was a lot of practice that went into it, and I want students to understand that sometimes you're going to fail, but you need to learn from that experience and kind of grow with it. And it's just not giving up. So I really want to ensure that students continue to try. What's the role of the teacher in the classroom? So the role of the teacher is to guide students in their learning. We are facilitators in their learning experiences. I believe that the classroom should not only be teacher-centered. Students should take ownership of their learning, and it's teachers' responsibility to support and guide students in their progress. So yes, I like direct instruction, but it should not be the only method of teaching. I think it's important for students to be engaged, and we are tasked with that responsibility of making sure that we guide students in their learning and they're able to progress, and we're assisting them in it, but they should have a lot more ownership of their learning. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you guys so much.